everyone. I'm Chanté Keller with KCSourceLink, and I'm here with Michael McWhorter with the SBA. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program and the forgiveness surrounding that and that loan product. Michael, will you mind telling them a little bit about you and what you do with the SBA?
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I am Michael McWhorter. I'm with the SBA Kansas City District Office. I am the lead lending relations specialist. Basically, I know you know this, but people may not. We cover a third of Kansas and half of Missouri. One of the few district offices in the nation that we go across state lines. So makes it really exciting and stuff like that. So I go from about Manhattan eastward in Kansas and from Columbia west on Missouri. We have 89 counties, and we're in charge of that area. So that's who I am. That's what I do. I work with the bankers. I work with the programs, the 7A, the PPP, the restaurant revitalization, all the programs that are available to lend money on.
Wonderful. So, okay, Michael, I am going to be the business owner today. And let's say I have some questions about PPP forgiveness. Can you help me answer those questions?
I'm going to do my best.
All right. Wonderful. Well, let's say I received a PPP loan and I am ready to submit for forgiveness. Is there an application, or how do I find that application? What are my first steps?
Well, the first steps you want to do is when you're ready to file for the application, there's a couple of places you can go and get the application. One of them, which is the easiest one to remember that everybody doesn't have to write down or anything, it's sba.gov. I know there's a / application PPP and all that, but if you just go to sba.gov, type that in, and we got a big red section in there, and it's coronavirus help, and you push the little button and it takes you to all of our programs, and you go to the PPP or Triple P or Paycheck Protection Program, however you want to reference it, and the applications will be in there. And there's three basic applications. There's a full-blown application for really big businesses that have up to 500 employees. There's a smaller, easier version, and we just came out with one that is the 350S version that you can go in, and as long as you're under 150,000 loan limit, it's like a 2-page application. It's real simple, real easy to use. And here in Kansas City, through my district, we're looking at probably 80 to 85% of all the PPP loans done will fit into that easy one. It's going to be, that application going to be very simple for people, and that's going to cover most of your audience.
Wonderful. And so with the easy form, what other documents do I need to prove that I have spent my loan like I was supposed to, or on the things that we needed to?
Great question. Great question. What we're looking at is if you're a business owner and you have some employees, okay, we'll take that as example one. What you're basically looking for is, I need to be able to account for the funds that I've spent on payroll and expenses associated with payroll. I know that a lot of people out there are going, well, okay, what does that mean? Well, if you're doing payroll, you're writing people checks, you're going to have some kind of accountant, and you're also going to have a tax form called a 941. That 941 is pretty much going to cover you on that. I would like to say at this time, there's a lot of misinformation out there that you have to spend 60% on payroll and 40% on expenses associated with payroll. And that's not correct. That's our minimum and maximum. You have to spend a minimum of 60% on payroll, and you can only spend a max of 40% on expenses. But in your case, if you spend 100% on wages, that's what the program was intended for, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about expenses. And with that, I would say that like sole props, which make up the majority of ours, individuals, contract, 1099 employees, people like that got payroll protection program checks or funds for a loan, they're individuals, and that's a big majority of all the loans we did in Kansas City. Those people only need to provide like a bank statement, a personal bank statement showing the funds went into their personal bank statements, because there is no employees, there is no 941s, there is no other thing. Most of them file Schedule C. You don't have to turn in tax forms. You just got to give the information on where the money went, and that would be just simply a bank statement.
That's wonderful. That's good to know. So now we have our application. Hopefully it's easy, especially if you're in the Kansas City area. Our supporting documents. So once I have all of this information together, where am I going to submit my PPP application?
That's one of the critical parts right there. When you went to get your PPP loan, you could have went to McWhorter's Bank and Trust, and they gave me money. Then that's who I need to go back to. But if you went online and you used Joe Billy Bob's Bank and Trust down in Texas, then you got to go online and send the documents to them. I know it sounds a little funny there, but there were a lot of lenders who are around the United States that did PPP loans here in Kansas City that have no branch offices anywhere near. So if you went online and did it, you're probably going to have to go online and submit it to them. But if you went down the street and you talked to a local bank in your neighborhood or who you normally bank with, or credit union, we did allow credit unions, and some of our certified development companies also did them. If you went to one of those organizations, whoever wrote you the check, whoever gave you the money, put money in your account, you got to go back to that person or that institution to get your forgiveness application filed with them.
Wonderful. I know people took out loans at different times. So, where in the process should I start considering working on my application?
Okay, very good. Yeah, because the program started officially April 2020. April 2020. And because the law was signed March 27th, and it ran all the way till just recently it ended. What we have in that program is called cover periods. The cover period is the amount of money we gave you to spend on payroll, and it was between 8 and 24 weeks is your cover period. Our laws were written by Congress. That's how we did all this, was Congress wrote laws and passed them, and it made many changes, as we both know. And each change sort of changed up the parameters. But you have 8 to 24 weeks. You get to pick how long it takes you to spend that money. And during that period, that's called the cover period. At the end of that cover period, you have 10 months to file for your application for forgiveness. I want to say right here that if you don't file, then your lender or whoever loaned you the money is going to start sending you payments for principal and interest payments on that loan, because it is a loan until it gets forgiven by SBA. It is still a loan. And so after 10 months from a cover period, well, I've heard this many times, and this comes out as questions. Well, how do they know what my cover period is? By and large, the rule of thumb is all the lenders are going, we're going to give you 24 total weeks, and then 10 months. Then after that, they're going to start charging you payments. So I highly recommend when you get done spending money, go ahead and apply. There has been a few lenders that are not accepting applications because they're very short-staffed or very small banks, and they were working on the PPP loans get out. Now they've started working on the forgiveness loans. So now they started accepting them. If you got one, say last summer, you may not have been able to file yet your application for forgiveness because your bank was like, no, wait, we don't. And that's just because they're small lending institutions. They didn't have the manpower or person power to be able to process loan applications and forgiveness at the same time. So they sort of made a stop line in there. But every lender so far, currently sitting here today, July 8th, is pretty much taking applications. So if you got a loan back in the middle of the summer, back at the beginning, yes, you should be applying for your forgiveness application.
Perfect. And so you said after that 24 weeks and then the 10-month period for you to apply, the bank will start sending you a notification that you need to start paying on that loan if you haven't completed that task already?
Yes, ma'am. They'll start sending you a payment interest, just like a coupon book, like you get when you buy a home or a car or go to Best Buy and you buy something. They send you a notice saying, okay, your payments begin. Some of these places have like 3 months, no payments, whatever. Mm-hmm. We're calling that a deferment period. The 10-month period is a deferment period. We're not charging any payments. But if you don't act on it and you don't do something, then you're going to have to pay the loan back. Like I said, I know it sounds like a very small amount to some, very large amount to others, but that money is going to have to be paid back in before 5-year period. So if you had basically 24 weeks with 6 months and 10 months, that's 16 months taken out of a 60-month term. So you're only looking at about 44 months to pay off your balance, whatever it is, it's $10,000 or $1 million. You only got 44 months payments to pay it. something happens, and I do want to put this out there so people don't panic. If something happens and you're not able to, and talk to your lender, be forthcoming to your lender and tell them what's going on. If something happens dramatically in your life or something comes up and you can't file during that 10-month period, after the 6 months and 10 months, and you're like, I just can't do it right now, talk to your lender, go ahead and set up your payments. You can still apply later and you'll get refunded any payments you make. So if something tragic happens, don't just go, oh, well, I missed the 10-month deadline, I'm done. No, we will still accept the applications. You're just going to have to make payments on it. And then we will refund you the money to the bank that lent it to you. And then whatever payments you made, we'll refund those to you. So, but I recommend strongly to go start it as soon as possible.
Wonderful. I was going to say that. That's good to know, especially if those payments start to happen, that they can still apply, based on need. So once this application is in, and it's reviewed by the lender, how will how will I know if I have been forgiven for the funds that I have spent?
It's a secret. We would tell you, but then we'd have to shoot you. But it is government. No, the lender has a time period, and all these periods of time are estimates. They're not written in stone. But when you turn in your application to me, I'm McWhorter Bank and Trust. You turn your application to me. I have 60 days from the day I receive your application that I have to submit it to SBA. Once I submit it to SBA, we're giving ourselves 90 days to start to look over the documents and see what we need, and then making a notice. Under the laws and everything, once SBA makes a determination of whether to approve you for full forgiveness or partial, which we can talk about later, but full forgiveness or partial, we notify the bank, send them the money, and they pay it down. So you got a $10,000 loan with me. SBA calls me up and says, Mike, here's the $10,000 plus interest. We're paying it off for forgiving her 100%. Then I have to notify you that it's been forgiven. And then the loan's done, you don't have any payments, and you're through, and you walk them down the street. So the lenders are going to be the one notifying you. I want to stress, these lenders are willing to work with you in any way possible, because they don't want 500 loans at 1% interest in their portfolio they're having to service for 5 years. They're your best advocate on that. And also some of our partners, as you well know, some of the SBDCs at local colleges and SCORE. And I know you got a group there at KCSourceLink. If a person gets an application or can't find one, the lender has them. Y'all probably have copies of them. The SBDC has copies. SCORE has copies. Contact somebody. Don't stick your head in the sand like an ostrich. Ask people. There is much help out there that's free. And there has been one issue, and I'm sorry to take up a little time right here, but we've seen a lot of people that are, and I call them scam artists. I don't know what would be the other way to call it, but there's people out there that says, you send me your application, I'll fill it out for you for $1,500. Make sure you get all your money done. And people are like, well, okay, that sounds right. There's too much out there. We're willing to do everything for free to give you this. I know y'all are willing to help them. I know that, like I said, SBDCs are willing to help them at all the colleges around Kansas and Missouri. Your lender will even help you fill out the application. Please do not pay somebody an exorbitant amount. Now, if you've got a CPA in the family and it's the brother-in-law, and if you don't do something, the family's going to get, that's fine. But don't pay anybody a large amount of money for doing this. These applications, like I said, that 2-page application, the only reason it's 2 pages is because you have to sign. It's basically 1 page, and it's easy. And if you do have some questions, reach out to people. There's plenty of resources in the city of Kansas City and the state of Missouri and the state of Kansas to help you with it. But please don't fall prey to somebody wanting to charge you an exorbitant amount to help you with your application. There's no reason for it.
Thank you for the heads up. Yeah, we do. KCSourceLink is happy to connect you to anyone that can sit down with you and kind of help you look over that if you do need some support. And both on the Kansas and Missouri side. So we're happy to help you along that path. So going back to the forgiveness and this timeline, you said that once the application is due and you receive your forgiveness, or you're notified of your forgiveness, if that happens outside of the 10 months, will you still get those payments?
Yes, you will still get the payments. What the majority of our local lenders are being real great through this program. They've been the backbone. Obviously, I couldn't get out there and loan all the loans that we did, and our lenders need a big, round of applause sometime, but they're the backbone of it. A lender knows that you've applied. So you've come to me and you've applied your application. I'm going, our 10 months are up and I haven't heard nothing from the SBA. I'm going to start charging her payments. 90%, 99 probably, of the lenders are going to go, we know the application's in. Let's see what SBA sends back before we start making payments. Okay. Now, maybe if you did a loan with somebody out in California or, who knows, the Virgin Islands, they may want to start making payments because that's their call. They can do it because the law says that after 10 months, if you hadn't been forgiven, they can start collecting P&I. It does not say my application's in and it's on hold or it's being reviewed or I turned it in 9 months and 3 weeks. I shouldn't be able to make payments. Now, the law says they can start charging you payments after 10 months. Goes back to the beginning of when I recommended strongly to do it sooner than later. Don't get caught in that because it's up to them. They're there to loan you money. They're there to collect the money according to the law. Like I said, 99% of the lenders in Kansas City area probably go, that's okay. We know your application's in. We'll wait. But if you're dealing with one that doesn't, it's not against the law for them to start collecting money after that 10-month period. It is not. Good so I stress very strongly, get out there and get it in. And remember, we did about 11 million of these loans. So 11 million, your closest friends are coming up on their 10-month period too, and their cover period of 8 to 24 weeks, and they're all filing. And it's going to be like this big tidal wave of applications coming into SBA. So I would get it out there sooner than rather than wait. But like I said, we do understand there's things that happen.
Yeah. So as soon as you can after your payment period is up. So early in that 10-month period is possible to get serviced, and so you don't have to deal with getting reimbursed for your payments and interest. So right. Awesome. I did want to go back. You said something about a full forgiveness and partial forgiveness. What could that look like?
Go back to the example, the $10,000 loan you got. We do have requirements of how the funds are spent. They have to be spent for eligible use of proceeds, and that list is very long. But occasionally we have gotten from the lenders and from people, the person that went and bought the $40,000 bass boat, went on a trip to Europe, whatever. They didn't spend their money appropriately. In that case, what we try to look at is say, okay, well, you spent $5,000 on your new fishing rod and you spent $5,000 on wages. So we're only going to forgive $5,000 because that was spent for what the intent of the money was for. And you're going to pay back the $5,000. Now, there will be a few of those because people paid off a line of credit. Let's think about realistic. I'm a business owner. I got a $100,000 loan. I paid off a line of credit. That's not what the proceeds were made for. If I did that, then that set of proceeds are not going to be eligible to be forgiven. And in that case, they're going to have to make payments on them throughout the remainder of the term of the loan. And the bank will receive the other portion with the interest. But you'll be responsible for whatever money that is, $10,000 out of the 100. You're going to be responsible for interest from the beginning to the time you're notified it's not and your payments start. So there will be a few of those, unfortunately. People didn't pay attention or whatever. And that brings up a good point again, and I can't strongly emphasize this enough. You do not have to spend the money on expenses. You can spend it all on payroll. Mm-hmm. And if you're an individual, that's what I was talking about on sole prop stuff. If you think back on a Schedule C, we gave you off a revenue because you don't file a Schedule C and go, I'm writing myself a check and I'm W-2ing myself. So we gave you revenue. And so to replace revenue, you just put it in your checking account. It could be 1 check, 2 checks, 3 checks, be 15 checks, whatever you want to do. It comes from your business account into your personal account. That's all we need to know. We don't care where you spend it after that because just like with employees, if you had 50 employees and you gave them payroll checks, you don't call them up and ask them, well, did you spend your money on rent or did you spend your money? They can do what they want to with their money. It's theirs. Same thing for sole prop, independent contractors, 1099 people. That's their money. Once it goes into their personal account, we're good to go. We don't need any additional. And on the 150 on the simple form, the 3508S, on that form, we don't even require you to send documents in when you fill it out. Now, your lender may want to look to make sure you got everything in line. They may ask you to look at it, but that's not what we're going to look at. We're just going to look at the application and see if we see any red flags and then ask you for information. So that's why I strongly suggest also using a very simple form.
Perfect. I was going to say that's good to know, especially for sole props, because that is, eventually becomes personal income. So making sure that you have all of those payments in line and reflected in your statements. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. I obviously can help with this, but specifically for the SBA offerings and their loan forgiveness, where should people go if they have questions with the application specifically?
Okay. I would personally start out. I would call my banker and ask them if they're willing to help. If it's a mid-sized bank or a regional bank in Kansas City area, Kansas, Missouri, when I say that, guys, I mean Kansas, Missouri. I'm not dissing anybody. If it's a regional bank or a local bank, they're more apt to help you. Now, if you did it at Bank of America, I'm not just dumping on them, at Wells Fargo, Chase, they're a big bank and they really don't have time and they will not help you. I'm sorry. They're just not going to. They don't have staff. But a lot of your local banks will help you. So I applied at Bank of America. So Bank of America said, stay on hold for 24 hours and we'll try to get to you. Then what I would do is I would reach out to the SBA district office in Kansas City, which we're located right down there on Wall Street, or Walnut Street, and Commerce Bank Building. But the best one is, and then if you got a pen and paper, write this down. The SBDC stands for Small Business Development Centers, and there's one here in Kansas. There's one in Overland Park at what's that called? Johnson County Junior College. JJJC. It's got a lot of J's in it.
JCCC, yeah.
There's a lot of J's in it.
Small Business Development Center at Johnson County Community College, yes.
Yeah. So if you just Google SBDC SBA, it would get there. But if you want to do Small Business Development Center, Johnson County College, or University of Missouri at Kansas City, any of these, most of them are at Story. If you're down in Pittsburgh and you're looking at this, the Pittsburgh College down there has one. So I would look up that. The second one is called SCORE. It's SCORE. They're located at score.org, but they have people around the Kansas City area, Topeka, Springfield, Kirksville. They have people everywhere, and they're able to help you. And then, like you said, and I strongly suggest this too, is KCSourceLink. The great thing about them is they know where all these people are, and you've been to a lot of our meetings with them, so you know everybody. And it's a nice thing is you can make one-stop shops, what I call it, KCSourceLink, one-stop shop, because y'all are able to go, oh, you need to talk to Linda, or you need to talk to Jessica, or, Tom's over here. That's the best place for you to go to get that information, because you have all the information. It's always in your pamphlets. So I highly recommend going to KCSourceLink. Would be my first probably stop if I especially dealt with a banker, a large banker. We actually have a bank called Small Business Bank. It's one branch. It's right there. They're great people. They'll help you do anything, but not everybody went there. Obviously, they don't have enough staff, but I would definitely reach out to KCSourceLink because they can direct you. Mike, I can't remember all this. Yeah, you can. You're on KCSourceLink watching this. KCSourceLink will direct you to the people that you need to go to. I really believe that.
I'm sorry I didn't pay Michael to say that.
I appreciate the suitcase with the unmarked bills in it.
Yeah. And we say, feel free to reach out to KCSourceLink. As Michael said, we work with over 240 organizations that provide service to small businesses. Whether you need help with your PPP loan forgiveness or you're interested in starting a business, whatever that looks like for you, we're happy to get you connected to those resources. I do remember almost all of the acronyms. So the Kansas Small Business Development Center out at Johnson County Community College, or the Missouri SBDC at UMKC right here in the same building that we are. So KCSourceLink is back in person. So if you'd like to make an appointment with us, feel free to give us a call or reach out through our website. Thank you so much, Michael, for all of the wonderful information. As he said, don't pay someone a ton of money to get this filled out. KCSourceLink is a no-cost service. We don't charge anything for what we provide. The SBDCs, they have no-cost counseling as well, to sit down and work with you and your business. SCORE, the same, no cost to work with them as well. So don't pay someone an exorbitant amount of money just to get this application filled out. So everyone is here to support you and want to see you succeed. So again, thank you so much, Michael, and have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. Have a great day.